no one was ever arrested in connection with her brutal murder. Her brother Brian, 46, who still lives in the family home, Caberfield Cottage, and works at the paper mill in Garbridge, said last night, "We've never given up hope that Rosie's killer would one day face justice. There were suspects at the time, but the police were never able to find enough evidence to nail them. Sadly, my parents went to their grave not knowing who did this terrible thing to Rosie. But perhaps now we'll get the answer they deserved." He could recite the article by heart, but he still liked to look at it. It was a talisman, reminding him that his life was no longer aimless. For so long he'd wanted someone to blame. He'd hardly dared hope for revenge, but now, at long last, vengeance might possibly be his. Part 1, Chapter 1. 1978, St Andrews, Scotland. 4 in the morning, the dead of December. 4 bleary outlines wavered in the snow flurries that drifted at the beck and call of the snell northeasterly wind, whipping across the North Sea from the Urals. The 8 stumbling feet of the self-styled laddies for Kirkcaldy traced a familiar path of their short cut over Hallow Hill to Fife Park, the most modern of the halls of residence attached to St Andrews University, where their perpetually unmade beds yawned a welcome, lolling tongues of sheets and blankets trailing to the floors. The conversation staggered along lines as habitual as their route. "I'm telling you, Bowie's the king," Sigmund Malkovich slurred loudly, his normally impassive face loosened with drink. A few steps behind him, Alex Gilby yanked the hood of his parka closer to his face and giggled inwardly as he silently mouthed the reply he knew would come. "Bollocks," said Davy Kerr. "Bowie's just a big Jesse. Pink Floyd can run rings round Bowie any day of the week. Dark Side of the Moon, that's an epic. Bowie's done nothing to touch that." His long dark curls were loosening under the weight of melted snowflakes, and he pushed them back impatiently from his waif-like face. And they were off. Like wizards casting combative spells at each other, Sigmund and Davy threw song titles, lyrics, and guitar riffs back and forth in the ritual dance of an argument they'd been having for the past 6 or 7 years. It didn't matter that these days the music rattling the windows of their student rooms was more likely to come from the Clash, the Jam, or the Skids. Even their nicknames spoke of their early passions. From the very first afternoon they'd congregated in Alex's bedroom after school to listen to his purchase of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, it had been inevitable that the charismatic Sigmund would be Ziggy, the leper messiah for eternity, and the others would have to settle for being the Spiders. Alex had become Gilly, in spite of his protestations that it was a Jesse nickname for someone who aspired to the burly build of a rugby player, but there was no arguing with the accident of his surname. And none of them had a moment's doubt about the appropriateness of christening the 4th member of their quartet Weird. Because Tom Mackey was weird, make no mistake about it. The tallest in their year, his long gangling limbs even looked like a mutation, matching a personality that delighted in being perverse. That left Davy, loyal to the cause of the Floyd, steadfastly refusing to accept any nickname from the Bowie canon. For a while he'd been known half-heartedly as Pink, but from the first time they'd all heard "Shine on, you crazy diamond," there had been no further debate. Davy was a crazy diamond right enough, flashing fire in unpredictable directions, edgy and uncomfortable out of the right setting. Diamond soon became Mondo, and Mondo Davy Kerr had remained through the remaining year of high school and on to university. Alex shook his head in quiet amazement. Even through the blur of far too much beer, he wondered at the glue that had held the 4 of them fast all those years. The very thought provoked a warm glow that kept the vicious cold at bay as he tripped over a raised root smothered under the soft blanket of snow. "Bugger," he grumbled, cannoning into Weird, who gave him a friendly shove that sent Alex sprawling. Flailing to keep his balance, he let his momentum carry him forward and stumbled up the